Okay, so here I am. I'm going to try quarantine cooking again because that's what I do. It's my super duper hairdo. What am I making? Oh yes, I'm going to attempt to make a beef Wellington with a what's it called? Apparently, I haven't had enough to drink yet. Filet mignon, wrapped in puff pastry with mushrooms. My God, wow! Cooking show 101. Know what you're cooking. More in a minute. Okay, so with cooking in quarantine, drink in hand at all times. So we're going to put mushrooms and onions. We're going to chop up the mushrooms finely. Mushrooms, beverages, steak must be patted dry, salt and peppered, and then we are going to add the mushrooms and the puff pastry. I've chopped up the mushrooms and I'm going to take a pat of butter. It's very difficult to do with one hand. Into a nice hot pan. Once that's all melted, I'll add the mushrooms and we'll cook them down. As you see, these are going to cook down until they're just nicely browned. As you can see, these have been reduced quite nicely. There's still a little bit of water there. Now I'm going to add salt and pepper. I can't do that with one hand. Oh my God. All right, I got to hire myself a cameraman. Does that work? Oh God, watch it fall. And the ever fabulous cooking sherry. Add a little bit of that and let it all reduce. Next, I'm going to take onions. I'm going to chop them up finely and add them to the mushrooms. I've also cut my puff pastry to wrap around the beef. It's going to thaw a little bit more while we finish cooking the mushrooms and the onions. We've now joined the onions and the mushrooms in the pan of fun. Season this with some thyme. Oh God, this one-handed thing's got to go. I've cheated a little bit and heated up a cast iron pan in the oven. And this is how I'm going to brown both sides of the filet mignon. Throw a little bit of olive oil. Just a little bit. Like this is super scorching hot, as you can see. And then this is going to go in for a couple minutes aside just until both sides are nice and brown, and then we're going to finish cooking in the pastry. As you can see, there's a lot of steam and smoke coming off this cast iron pan. Make sure that your smoke alarm is on I'm just cooking setting. So while that is finishing, I've put the mushrooms in on the puff pastry. Nice little thing, circle that's going to envelope the beef as soon as it's done. And don't forget to hydrate often. Most important. Okay, next up, we are going to take some Dijon mustard and you top the beef. Oh God, I'm going to need to grow a third hand here because this is hilarious. Top the beef with the Dijon mustard. Give that a nice, whoops, give that a nice little spread. And then you're going to place the beef, mustard side down. And then I'm going to wrap this. But since I don't have 3 hands, I'm going to pause the video. Okay, so then we're going to take the wrapped beef, flip it over, and it goes on an oven tray. And then we are going to egg wash this. Oh, and the best thing ever, silicone basting brush. This will make it nice and crispy on the top. And as you can see, 400, we're going to throw this in the oven until it's browned. About, I don't know, 20, 25 minutes. And then we will check back. So while the beef Wellington's in the oven, we're going to make side dishes. I've got asparagus and Brussels sprouts. And as always, don't forget to hydrate. Remember that pan that we used to sear the beef in? So I put it back in the oven. I do like to cheat a lot, and instead of having it sitting on top of the stove with, you know, the burner there and it'll burn the bottom, I threw everything back right into the oven. So even the juices from the beef are still sitting in the pan. I took some mini red potatoes, mixed them with a little bit of pepper and rosemary, cut them up. And what I'm going to do is throw them back into the oven to roast. And what I've done with the asparagus is obviously trimmed off the woody edges and taken my Brussels sprouts, trimmed all of them and cut them in half. What I'm going to do with them is take some oil. I use coconut oil just because olive oil is a little heavy sometimes. I'm going to do some salt, pepper, and garlic, and I'm going to bake them as well, and they're going to be amazing. And again with my cheating, the pan that we did the mushrooms in, so there's still some bits and pieces on the bottom, and the flavor. The asparagus is going to get heated up here. Turn that on. The asparagus is going to get sauteed in butter, a little bit of oil, and white wine. And as always, don't forget to hydrate. Okay, here is the final finished product. How's that look? So I'm going to attempt to cut into this with one hand. I don't know if I can do that. Yeah, I'm gonna have to grow a third hand. Hold on. Hold up. Okay, that's mildly ridiculous. Look, it's still steaming. Bon appetit, everyone. I hope you enjoyed this edition of Quarantine Cooking with Ange. The toughest decision I had to make was actually to have a merlot or a merlittle. I went with a merlot.